Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate episode 123, Scum and CIS meta-analysis? I didn't know they had a meta. I think we talked about that last week, and I'm pretty sure we said they didn't have one. Anyway, tonight we're going to be covering the last of our Academy 101 series on meta-analysis of certain factions. Tonight it'll be Scum and CIS, who I still believe CIS is better than Scum. But either which way, we will be having a meta-analysis discussion on the very few lists that exist for it. Also, with that is, we have some store champs that came up, and they got some pretty cool stuff. I think it's somewhat janky, but it is pretty cool, so we're going to cover some different store champs that actually made 3-1 or 4-0 for some of the different lists tonight. If you're just joining us, we apologize. We're on a different night tonight. We're on Tuesday. Sunday, we wanted to stream JJ crushing Crispy is what we were hoping was going to happen for our NCX League. And unfortunately, we did not win that game. But we did move the podcast and say, hey, we're definitely going to make sure you get a podcast this week. Now, without further ado, let's bring in my co-host for tonight. Please welcome JJ. Better go get his Lions hat or he's going to owe me a Coke. How are you tonight, sir?
Doing all right, man. Just it's been a hell of a week so far. Between not being able to shut the door and Teen Havoc, listening to the amount of screams on the cast for using Selfless, and yeah. But you know what? It's a new week. We got an opportunity here to secure our spot in the playoffs here. We just need to win. Currently, the series between us and the Hotshots is 1-1 right now for the Nickel City League. So we're getting it's within our grasp. We can definitely do it there. My game won't be until Friday night. And then for Team USA Islands, we're currently 1-1 as well for them, and we're trying to stay in the game there. But yeah, it's this very competitive season of X-Wing that's going full swing, and it's exciting.
Yeah, better go get that Lions hat, baby. Where's your wife right now? Have your wife bring you that Lions hat. All right. Also joining us is the bench warmer himself, Alex. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing okay. You know, that nickname is supposed to be facetious, but I'm glad you guys benched me for the last week here on the Star Killers team.
JJ said, I'd rather roll the dice on whether Chris is just going to shit the bed this week or not, because Chris shits the bed every other week, it seems like. So will Tanner shit the bed, or will Tanner actually get a win? How about that?
Hey, man, I gave you 2 buys already, bro. I wasn't going to give you a third.
I would kept my record positive. I would have made me happy. I don't know. JJ looks frozen there. He's frozen in shock. Anyway, tonight we have a pretty good cast for you. We will. I don't know how long we're going to spend on the meta analysis. We got like 3 lists each. For each of the different factions, but let's be honest, there's not a lot of faction meta stuff with Scum and CIS. Yes, they're winning store champs on and off, but they are not winning tournaments. But I don't think it's fair for us to just completely ignore it. You are going to face Scum and CIS, and I feel that especially there's at least 2 specific lists that you will definitely see people try to emulate, and I thought we would want to cover some of those anyway. If you look at the graphic, it has the amazing Grievous picture and a Cad Bane, Dirge, and that was the only Finra I could find that wasn't like stupid looking. Some of the ones just are so weirdly colored, they didn't match. So I just picked that one and hope that was okay for Fen. But anyway, it was this week's been pretty crazy for me so far. I'm on call this week, so if all of a sudden my head disappears or you see the image go up, just means I got to take a phone call for work. I hate being on call, but it is what it is. You get paid we all got to take our turn, so
Yep, absolutely.
yeah. So hopefully your guys' weeks are going good. A quick announcement. If you are in Michigan, we have a store tournament in Zeeland, Michigan, which is basically Grand Rapids area. Come out. We got like 10 or 11 people. I would love to make this a real store champ. Give me some 16 people. JJ, fly in. I'll put you up in my spare room. You and I can bunk together. It'll be amazing. Bring your whole wife and kids. And it would be even funner then. And we could do like a board game night. JJ, you could say, "Hey, Alex, you around? JJ, you want to do a board game night?" I mean, you guys should just vacation in Grand Rapids. We got some cheap hotels by where I live, and like we could just do board games. We just go down to the board game store. We can get some amazing pizza. We can even get you some New York style pizza. We got New York style pizza around here, so
I do want to try Detroit style pizza like from the area because I want to give it a fair shot.
It's better than deep dish. I'll put it that way. Like I'm not.
That's that bold claim, bro.
It is. I don't know. Where's Staniszewski? Can you call Staniszewski? I bet Staniszewski backed me up on this one too. Detroit style pizza is, in my opinion, better than deep dish, but all of it pales in comparison to like a New York style pizza. I don't care what anyone says. Nobody wants lasagna. You don't want a fucking lasagna. If you do, it's not a pizza. Where's Greg? Somebody pull Greg in.
I think a baked ziti is better than a lasagna.
I don't know. You know what we should do for like our Christmas cast this year? We should get Greg. We should get a bunch. We should get like Greg and Nick on, and maybe a couple other people, and we can like have a debate on like soup, and then we can have a debate on pizza. We just like pick controversial food topics and do like an insane debate with all of us.
Thai food is the best food out there.
All right, we can have that discussion too. I don't disagree with you, but we can have that discussion as well. I like Thai food. I don't know. I like Thai food for the taste better than Indian food, but Indian food, in my opinion, has a better variety than Thai food does. Yes.
I hate Indian food so much.
All right. Well, we're gonna save that. That'll be our Christmas show this year. We can all maybe we'll all get like a bottle of whatever we drink and get hammered on stream and debate each other.
That'd be great, man.
Yeah, welcome to our X-Wing podcast.
Welcome to X-Wing. We're gonna debate food tonight. Your host, Tanner, who loves to cook and thinks eggs are disgusting. Little tidbit, just so you know.
How do you live?
Well, you can bake with them. Just don't put eggs in my food. You want some pad thai? Take the fucking eggs out. I don't want eggs in my pad thai. You want fried rice? Don't put eggs in my fried rice. I ain't going to eat it. Egg drop soup? That goes right in the garbage. I don't even like to give it to other people. Just throw it away.
Nothing shows my American superiority than throwing away good food, baby.
It's not good food. That's why it's okay to throw it away. Scrambled eggs? No, thank you. They smell like farts, and they just look like mush. And I don't understand how people eat them.
I'm an Eggs Benedict guy. Like, that's my favorite type of egg. A poached egg for Eggs Benedict with hollandaise sauce. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me some ramen. No eggs. Don't give me an egg in my ramen. Fuck that. We are the anti-egg cast now. There you go. Even though my favorite character have eggheads. Anyway, so let's begin this show before we
descend further off this path.
It is Tuesday, and I have been working since like 7:30 this morning. So I will say I'm a little out of it. I think we are going to start with what I would consider some pretty fun lists. Welcome to our pattern analyzer segment where we analyze store champs and the beyond. Tonight, we actually have some pretty cool store champs. I had this conversation with Alex, and Alex is going to shoot me, but I was like, I'm kind of sick of covering store champs because all we're seeing is this Han garbage, and I'm so sick of seeing like lists. And like the one time I want to run a 2-2 list, you're like, nah, it doesn't win enough. We can't talk about it. It's worthless. It's not going to be good to talk about. So today, we have a bunch of store champs that actually have these weird, different-ish builds that we haven't seen all around the Americas. So I'm a little more excited tonight, Alex, and you inspired me. One more week of store champs.
See, all you need to do is take that deplete and have some patience.
Yeah, just a little bit. I hate taking depletes though, because you know what happens when my droids take depletes. They go bye-bye. They're gone. Anyway, the first one is from Lone Star, Washington. And this one had 2 ties because I think they ended up doing a top cut, right? And so they decided to do a top cut. So the 2 top people were Popeman and I don't know how you say that guy's name. Tangerung?
Yeah, Tagarung.
Is that how you say it? Is that
A little too much German in there,
like I'm partially German, but I don't know how to speak German. So yeah.
Take a run.
I did take a run. You could take a run at it, JJ. Take a run, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Tagerung would be German. For something I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, either which way, those 2 are the ones that ended up playing in the final round together, followed by the top 4, which had the Contrarian and Steve M, both who did not make it. But it was pretty cool to see some of these lists. JJ, what did the winner bring?
So we got an Empire list here that made the top here. So we got the Custom Vader, the TIE X1 that comes with Malice, Brilliant Evasion, Shield Upgrade, Advanced Optics, and Fire Control System. Then we got Juno Eclipse with Pattern Analyzer, Fire Control System, and Marksmanship. Tomax Bren with Sat Salvo, Barrage Rockets, Bomba Generator, Reimer with Cluster Missiles, Skill Bombardier, Thermal Detonators, and the Feedback Ping. And then Deathfire with Swift Approach, Counter-Rants, and Proton Bombs. That is the standard loadout Deathfire there to round off that list. This is definitely really interesting. This is the custom Vader that we don't see very often being brought in favor for the starter pack Vader or the Battle the Yavin Vader, which are both 6 points. This one is a 7-point Vader coming in there. Definitely has a lot of utility. It kind of has the best of both, right? Because with that optics, you can spend that focus to convert a blank into a hit, and then you have Malice to get the force back if you can get that crit through. And then you have a Fire Control System and Shield Upgrade to kind of help keep the lock and have that third shield that the other Vaders have. So you definitely have a lot of utility with this Vader. Typically, we see him with Pattern Analyzer, but I think this is a valid build as well if you're going more offensively. And then Juno Eclipse being that other I5 TIE X1 with Pattern Analyzer, allowing her to turn around and keep time on target, and with Fire Control System to just keep that lock and just have that single reroll for whoever she needs it for.
I was going to say that there is a Vader that has a shield upgrade and essentially advanced optics. And it's also 1 point cheaper.
Yeah.
And it has afterburners.
Yeah. But, not having Malice, I mean, granted, that Vader has hates, so you can regen that force. But with Malice, I think this is the more aggressive version of it. But yeah, I think that, I honestly, Boy Vader, probably just slightly more efficient. Just not having that fire control system on the Boy Vader is what hurts it. And it's nice.
Boy Vader also has marksmanship too, right? So like you can actually kind of still get crits in there. It's not Malice, but it's just funny that it's just like, yeah, we're gonna make Boy Vader, but we're gonna do it in the 7-point version.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, Alex. So we have 3 other 3-in-1s. I decided because there's enough uniqueness in them, even though one has a Han in it, and I despise that. But there's enough uniqueness in here that we're going to cover the next 3 lists. Which one do you want?
You know what? I'll take the Han Solo one. I know how much you hate that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So this is Han Solo with Perceptive, Chopper, Falcon title, Piston and engine upgrade. Boy Luke. I thought you said this was unique.
It's got Gina in it.
Yeah.
It has Boudica with Beskar, Optics, and Predator. And then it's got Gina Moonsong, the I-5 B-Wing, with the config Plasma Torps, Proton Cannons, and FCS. That's actually generally what I've seen her flown with. It's interesting to put her in a 4-ship list. Oh, you think they jump right on Gina, but if they do, at least Boudica gets a lot of free shots, and also Luke is shooting proton torpedoes after you.
Yeah. So this one's not super unique, but it does have Gina, and so you challenged me to say, hey, we are seeing some. This is different, and I would say like this is a very slow moving ship here, right? Like this like I don't know. I can Gina like it feels like Boudica outperforms. Like you're gonna have to like put Boudica on the side or something, right? To like because Gina's gonna go, I'm coming, and then just like sit there and here we
Well,
come again.
I think Gina's going to be that center objective contester, right? Because she doesn't need to bank anywhere, so she'll come along like pretty close, like a range 2 bubble from the center or in the center, and just go straight up the middle. Because eventually the battle will be forced towards the center, especially if you have Boudica and Luke or Han coming in from the flank, kind of pushing those other ships towards the center, right towards Gina, and that's where Gina's going to take advantage to do the double shot there. I do like the fact that she has plasma torpedoes and proton cannons. You could essentially fire off that plasma torpedo, and if it lands, you can take off a shield, get some damage in, and then if she has that bullseye lined up, she's going to have that proton cannon shot, hopefully into an unshielded opponent. So she does have that chance to really do some serious damage, letting Luke finish up with a proton torpedo shot, or Boudica afterwards as well, just depending on how the board is set up. But yeah, definitely a nice double tap ship there with Gina at I5.
Yeah, I actually like the also just having the I5. You can roll Link to a lock, and then get like a soft double mod with the proton cannons because it converts a focus result to a crit's really nice.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Even if you're not doing the double tap, it's just nice to get a double modded 4-die gun.
Now imagine if you put Lando in that list and could coordinate her a focus and a target lock. I don't know. It's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just pushing a little finger into.
Just wondering like who exactly you would pass off the stress off to though for.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I assume it's got to be like Luke. I mean, Han can do it because he's got Chopper, right? But yeah, that's the other problem.
Yeah,
you don't want to give that to Boudica.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. The next list is a CIS list. This one specifically has some Onderon oppressors in it. We have 2 Onderon HMPs with discords and concussions and cluster missiles. They're just like, here, let me throw. I have a munition for everything. Which munition would you like me to pick today? Delayed fuses, because I have a 1 point and I didn't want to put anything else, I guess. And the stupid config.
Well, they have cluster mines, so.
They're cluster mines. Oh, I thought they were cluster missiles.
I got discords, concussions, and cluster mines.
Okay, well, I feel better then. Okay, that's why you were laughing at me. Okay, so that makes sense. Now, when you put a delayed fuse in a cluster mine, does it put it on all 3? Or does it only put it on 1?
You can choose which ones you want to and which ones you don't.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
Then you have the Geonosian, which is a pretty awesome one with concussions and energy shells, and Kalani. Kalani, so that when things move into your bullseye, which these are surprisingly a lot easier to get bullseyes on people than you would imagine.
That's side slip. Yep.
Just it's not the best thing, but it's okay. And then we have 2 more. We have 2 more. We have 286 and 047. 286 has diamond borons. There you go, Alex. Novice tech to repair the cards, and then 47 has energy cells and cluster missiles. So there's no Kraken in this list. And then of course
you have Kalani.
Yep, because you have Kalani. And then of course you have 081, but you don't have the independent one. You have the Discord missile contingency protocol one with shred override locks. And I'm just assuming it's because that's what they owned. I don't know though, because I don't know if I would want to run that over the other 081.
I think they just want the 3rd Discord.
Yeah,
that'd be the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I would agree. The 3rd Discord. Yep.
So, because that one can't even land on rocks. You can pass through rocks, but you can't land on them. So I don't know. It's an interesting list. I don't own 5 HMPs. This is like 5 HMPs with a droid. So like this is a 2.0 list that has upgrades and an extra ship in there. So I don't know. This JJ's new list. He should have taken CIS. Maybe we'll get Matt to run this list. Can you imagine side slipping around all those rocks? Like I gotta do 5 ships to side slip. I don't know. I don't know if I could do that.
So each of them are 8 health, right?
Yes.
So
It's 43 health.
Jeez. Oh man, that's some beef, man.
Well, I got one agility. Let's not pretend these things aren't like easy to kill.
Yeah, but still, man, that's still a lot of damage you got to go through.
We were just talking about Gina, who has the exact same stat line. Well, one more shield, but like
yeah, but that's one Gina. This is 5, 5 Ginas.
Well, I mean, can you imagine what Gina would do to one of these things, though?
Yeah,
Like,
true. But
oh, here I'm Gina. Let me throw my plasma torp. Oh, there's all your shields. And oh, after that, I'm going to throw my proton cannon because I just came in at I4. And oh, you're almost dead. Just so you know. And if you get the crits right, you are dead.
But these things have a 5 straight that's white. You know, when you have the stabilizers off, I believe. They can side slip, right? They could do a 3-bank side slip. They can maneuver, and they got a 180-degree arc, which is going to outmaneuver that B-wing eventually. So it has a lot more time on target, especially when you have 5 of them combined. Not many players will know how to really deal with this because they can still maintain themselves in a group and kind of float around the board as they need to. I expect they actually did pretty well on assault. I think that's probably be their strongest objective point, and they can actually do very well in salvage as well. As long as they already had locks on their own opponent, they already got their soft mods. So it could be potentially really good.
Yeah. I don't think this is a bad list. I think this is probably a little bit more for fun list. This is something I would bring to my local, and if I started winning with it, I would. But I don't own 5 of them anymore because I sold some, and I'm not going to buy any more. So maybe Brendan, if you're listening, if you want to bring some HMPs, maybe between the two of us, we can put one of this list together. So I would not run. I would not run 081 that way. I would run the regular one that I can land on the rock and just take discords if that's what I want.
Yeah.
So, all right. JJ, what is the last list that we have from Sci-Fighter?
So this one here is going to be a first order list. We got Ember with Pattern Analyzer and Fanatical. I always think that Ember has more loadout value, but Ember doesn't. Scorch in the TIE FO with Fanatical and Crackshot. DT-798 with the Deadeye Shot and Pattern Analyzer. Kylo Ren with Proton Torpedoes, Malice, Pattern Analyzer, and Marksmanship. This is the Silencer Kylo. And then Dread with the homing missiles and seismic charges to round off the list there. Dread being that TIE FO bomber for the first order. Definitely a more unique first order list that we really haven't seen so far for the first order meta. Definitely being the TIE bomber, like something that we're not seeing very often, considering that they have 2 of those ships that come in at 3 points and they both can take munitions. It's kind of surprising that we don't see more and more of them on the field for them, opting to go for the more like high flying, like whispers and the TIE BAs in there. But it's nice to see them make 3 and 1 with this particular list. I like it a lot. I like the Fanatical Crackshot on Scorch. Definitely makes them a lot more aggressive and a lot more punchy. And Ember being able to take advantage of the shots after Scorch and DT have poured fire into particular ships can really help finish off a ship for this list. So definitely a lot of good bones for this list. I like it.
Yeah, I do. I'm a little weirded out with the Deadeye Shot and Pattern Analyzer, I guess, on DT. But that's just, I think it's a personal preference. I don't think I would run that.
Yeah, it's a personal preference for sure. Yeah.
And like the Fanatical and Crackshot and Scorch, okay, that's like, I could see that. I have found the Proud Tradition had been nice, but like, to be honest with you, like on some of these other ones, like I was running Midnight last night, and I swapped out and I put Fanatical on Midnight, and like as soon as the Midnight lost its shield, it was a free conversion versus the Proud Tradition, which was like somebody thought it was a good idea to share that you can just do your stupid focuses, or if you're any other ship that has a million shields, you could just take a crit and get rid of the card.
Yeah, HJ, do you know what Proud Tradition does?
Yeah, when you perform a red maneuver, you can, or after you fully execute or while you stretch, you can perform a focus action. Sorry, and then if you're after the attack happens, your opponent can spend a focus token or suffer a crit to flip it and make your focuses red, a red action.
No, that still works if your ship dies on that, right?
Yes, yeah, that's that. I've actually done that before. It's hilarious. It's great. You just got to remember. You got to remember the trigger.
I was playing an NCX game, and the guy's just like, "You were literally the first person I've ever Proud Traditioned me," and I'm like, "I don't know why. That thing's great. I do that basically right off rip."
Mm-hmm.
But the way I did it was super convoluted because it's me. So it was just like, "Oh, you shot at sinker. I'm gonna born for this. I'll focus over to him." Spend the focus on defense. Obi-Wan recharge the focus, then spend the focus again for Proud Tradition, then Obi-Wan it back. So I can't make things easy.
All right, Alex is not allowed to play in tournaments anymore.
It's super funny.
That's degenerate. You spent 2 force to get rid of Proud Tradition.
I should have done that to Crispy. I should have done that to Crispy. Damn it.
I also I like this Kylo Ren. I don't understand the pattern analyzer. He must just play it differently than Cody does, because Cody's always repositioning every turn to get that stress. You don't do that pattern analyzer.
Yeah.
But if you're only doing a single action, having another action with Kylo is really nice.
All right, so now we're going to cover the Poland tournament that I screwed up on last week. And this one has the actual correct top cut. They did a top cut of 8. And I don't know. So there was a couple of lists, but I wanted to go through it because we committed to doing it for that. So, Alex, do you want to take the winner here with the resistance list of your dreams?
I won't say my dreams, but I'm sure a bunch of people have flown this. So you got a Snap Waxley with R68 and HLC. You got Veneza Doza with Raj Rockets and Marksmanship. You got Jess Pava with R2D2 and Jamming Beam. You got Ella with Predator M9G8. And Zori Bliss. This is different. It has Ion Cannon Turret and Mag Pulse Warheads in Wartime Loadout. Typically, you would see Plasma Torps and R4 and Dorsal. You got to be really good at flying Zori if you're not having R4 on there, though.
Yep.
Because you're only doing those 1 bangs. I mean, you have the 3 straight, which is blue, which is kind of cool, but you're not doing the 2 hard turns, which is generally what people do.
Yeah.
It's quote unquote 5T70.
Yeah. And we've seen it's kind of a base staple that we've kind of seen. So I don't know. Next one, the runner up was a scum list. A scum list, in fairness, made top 8 as a runner up. And I'm going to cover the list, and then Alex, you could tell me what the hell some of this is doing. Because we have Lee Mackay with Dorsal Turret, Mag Pulse, and R4. So I'm a little confused again why we aren't running the Plasmas and that other reroll droid. But okay. And I don't know how to say this guy's name. Arlise?
Yeah, Arlise Agdrasian.
Why is there advanced optics and ion cannon turn? Is it just because you can put advanced optics and that's like the only ship that you can do that?
Well, when you're damaged, right, you have when you do a front arc attack, you can change one of your focus results to a crit. So I guess you save the focus token by doing that. And when you defend, you change your focus to a blank anyway, so you're not spending it on defense, I guess.
All right.
I don't think it's good. But, you did it.
Yeah. I mean, also, when you absolutely positively need to get the 4 hits on a range 1 shot, having optics really helps out. But, beyond that, Yeah, you're not using your focus on defense. So our leads will die fast, but just having that big offensive punch or accuracy can be good.
Then we got Fenrau with Cutthroat, Crackshot, Beskar, and Mandalorian Optics. Does Cutthroat work with Beskar?
Works for all of
Yes.
them because
Okay.
there are non-recurring charges.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I guess I'm not super opposed to that. You know, like especially that crack shots. If Elise is gonna die anyway, you're getting Cutthroat back. It's gonna happen.
I still feel like Fearless is a better investment, but I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree too. But I
You,
mean,
you have
yeah.
optics and a focus, so
Yeah, throw your Y wings into the fray and come in through the sides with everybody else, and boom, get your cutthroat, baby.
but then now we have Kira
mm-hmm.
on Cad Bane with sync laser cannon, the
That's
title,
spicy.
and thermals. Why Kira? Why am I really going through obstacles with Cad
So
Bane?
so if you have Kira and you're cloaked, you can decloak through an obstacle that you have locked with Kira. And then, I mean, that it just opens up the dial for Cad Bane to come around and sneak around. Now, is it good? Probably not, but you can do it.
That's actually a very popular build for Cad Bane. But
Really?
it actually is. Like I've been looking at a lot of it, and I'm like, why is everyone running Sync Lasers, Kira, Thermals?
I mean, I'm really interested to see if they actually brought in gas clouds in this list, because if Cad Bane sits on a gas cloud, he can't be locked. So that's a good way to
I mean,
get
he's
around
not shooting,
Vaders.
but
No,
oh yeah,
Kira
I
allows
guess
them.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Don't get
so
ionized.
yeah,
Yeah, don't get ionized, baby.
exactly. Yep.
Or play against an R4B11 because that's hilarious. There's also Dirge, the chip proton cannons FTC, which you see occasionally as well.
Yeah.
This list has some high initiative. You got Ven Rao, he hits hard. Lima has Mag Pulse, and then Dirge can shoot, and then there's really not many good 3-pointers in Scum, so our lose exists. It's just you don't want to take like Cad Bane up to like Manaru and then Harley's down to Bosk. That's fine, I guess. Rogues are cool. They come with 2 of them. You might as well use both.
I I I don't know. I guess it's how about this? It's interesting. It made it all the way up to number 2. So I'm not I shouldn't knock something I have never tried. So maybe Alex, this is something you can run in a tournament.
I would not be good with this list.
Nope. All right, so good. Run this because you already have your store invite, and then we can see how many people's days you can ruin. How about that? Come
I'm just
on.
gonna bring my Lando. He's so funny.
No, nobody wants to play against your Lando. We all want store invites. We don't want you to get a second one. JJ, what is the next list that we have here? With
Yeah,
an Empire list with 4 ships.
Yeah, actually no, 5. We
That's
got 5 ships on this one. So we got a Rear Admiral Chernu in the Decimator with the Darth Vader crew. It's pretty standard. Minister Tua, concussion bombs, and Dauntless title. I'm gonna do a quick stop here for this particular interaction, because I happened to play against this particular setup before, and it was hilarious to me. So if you're not familiar with Minister Tua, it reads, if you are damaged, when you engage, you can perform a red reinforce action. So what you do is turn 1, you drop a concussion bomb, and you just do a hard 1, and then just take a strain, because the Decimator doesn't care. Now you have 4 shields and 1 damage card on your Rear Admiral Chernu, and you're effectively giving yourself a double action, with the second one always being a reinforce with rack there. Very highly effective way of getting rack double modded. Essentially, you can take target locks, you can rotate your arc, you can focus, do whatever you like, and always have that reinforce action, as long as you're always doing blue blue maneuvers and
You're
don't
just
get
bombing the
flanked.
rest of your team because you can't stop
Yeah.
dropping the other two bombs.
Exactly. And then we got Tomax Bren. This is the standard loadout Tomax. We got Major Rhymer with proton rockets, which is definitely a choice for Rhymer, and elusive. Although it will be hilarious to see if they actually got the proton rocket off at range 3 in Bullseye
yeah.
with Rhymer. That'd be awesome. Then we got an appearance of Magnetolvin in the TIE Fighter, which is a ship that, or pilot, we haven't seen pretty much for a long time coming in. She comes in with jamming beam, precision ion engines, and squad leader. Magnetolvin's ability allows her to perform an action after she gains stress. So it works very well with squad leader. You can essentially coordinate somebody, an action that you have on her bar, which would be focus and evade or a barrel roll, and then she can perform her an action for herself later on. Really good way to buff up the TIE bombers or rack for whatever they might need. And then we got Maverick Steel in the TIE advance to finish off the list with afterburners and fire control system. Very solid choice for 5 points at I5.
Yeah, Magva is also after you do a stress. After you gain a stress, you can do a white action, but it's also you can just do actions while you have 2 or less stress. So if you do like the 3 or 4K, you get 2 actions. You can focus, evade, or coordinate, or however you want to do that. You probably don't want to coordinate though, because double stress. But I love Magna. She just needs 1 more point, so you can just do the squad leader HLC. Just give that back. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that. This is I will say this is definitely different. I'm not sold on the concussion bombs, I guess, though, but that's just me. I don't know. Would you just run like seismic and like I don't know. I don't know what you do with the 1 point, I guess.
Agile gunner, man.
Okay, there you go. You're right.
Agile. Yep, agile.
All right, so let's move on to the next store champ that was an Lega Polka in Germany, and I don't care if I said that right because I didn't. We have 5-6 people hitting 1-4-0 and then some 3-1s and a 2-1-1. Couple of cool lists here. A little bit different Republic list. Alex, what did Illy bring in the Republic list?
I brought SOC Oddball, SOC Wolf, SOC Jag, Slider with Dedicated, and then Matchstick with Ion Cannon, Ion Bombs, and Broadside with Ion Cannon Turret and Proton Bombs. Yeah, I mean, you got a 5, 3 4s, 2 3s. A lot of beef in that list, a lot of ion control. Broadside's pretty good for 3 points. The arcs are pretty solid for 4. I love me some Slider. And Matchstick, one of the few pilots to go down 2 points in the last update instead of just 1. It's okay enough. It loses a little bit of its efficiency because you're probably using the target locks on Oddball, Wolf, and Jag. But you can still lock them with Broadside and Slider. That should probably be all you need. Or just ion yourself. That's funny too, but
yeah,
don't do that.
I mean, I guess, right? Like maybe it's fun. I don't know. Not very many dedicated in here, though. I don't know.
You got the one.
So
I don't think
Matchstick does have a talent slot, right?
Both Broadside and Matchstick have talent slots.
Yeah, I think I probably would have gone with the dedicated on both, but it's a choice. I mean,
you miss out on the bombs.
Yeah, exactly. You miss out on the bombs, and ion bombs are definitely a really good control piece, especially when it comes to these ships that want to control where the ships are going to, so that way they can kind of circle around them and stuff. Definitely really strong there. Honestly, to round 1, the ships that would be locking onto Matchstick would be Oddball, Slider, and Broadside, and then Wolf and Jack can just do their own thing, whatever. And that provides Matchstick with 3 rerolls, which is really, really strong for an ion cannon turret. It makes it super accurate.
Does this list just says, let me neutralize you and then let my arcs murder you? Is that what this is?
Yeah, definitely.
I think this is, I'm going to joust you, and I don't think you have enough guns to kill all my ships by the time I start retaliating with enough damage.
You know, this is kind of cool. I mean, this is definitely a little bit different than we've seen before. Though instead of slider, would you just run boost? Like, I think boost is just better here because you could boost around and get out of the ion bomb ratio if you need to. You can because you could pick that interaction, right?
Yeah.
No, bombs at the end of activation. Boost is at start of engagement.
Gotcha.
But it depends. Like slider's better for salvage, but I think boost is better, especially in assault, but just overall. But also, slider's a 4, and that works with matchstick and wolf. Well, as boost is a 3, and it's broadside and jag, and you already brought 2 other I3s, so maybe you don't do that.
That makes sense. All right, JJ, what did Raya run in CIS? And it looks a little familiar.
Yeah, definitely. So we
Spoilers.
got the DIST 81 in the Tri-Fighter. This is the funny reroll man with outmaneuver, afterburners, contingency protocol, General Grievous with marksmanship, impervium plating, shield upgrade, and soulless 1. Sunfac with ensnare, marksmanship, treacherous, and targeting computer. Got Dirge with proton cannons, contraband, cybernetics, Xanadu blood, and the charges. And then DFS 81 with energy shells and indie calcs to round off this list. This is a very good saddle list for CIS. Got a little bit of everything in this list there to go out and contest everything for what you need. This can do pretty well across the board, I would say. Probably the weakest it does is probably assault. But nonetheless, you got a lot of different weapons here, and you're going to force your opponent to make choices. You're either going to allow the IS to flank you and get advantage of you with outmaneuver, or you're going to face it and face the Wrath of Grievous coming in from the other end. And then Sunfac is probably there to make sure that he tracks you into a bad spot. So definitely a lot of utility in this list.
All right. Wrong mouse. All right. Next store champ we have is Comics, Games, and Coffee in Great Britain. This one, across the pond one. All right. Nobody got that joke. So, okay.
Makes sense. I get it.
Yes.
All right. We'll just keep moving on, for Christ's sake. There was 5 3-1 or 4-0s. They didn't do a top cut, but no big deal. The winner ran in a resistance list with the favorite T70 of the world, it seems, Elo Asti, with Swarm Tactics, which okay. Swarm Tactics,
Yes.
Jamming Beam, and Heroic. Lulo with Predator, Marksmanship, Shield. Zori with Dorsal, R4, Wartime, and Plasma. Jess Pava with M9G8, Electronic Baffle. Does Jeff Pava not have a talent slot?
Nope.
Okay. Then Temin Wexley with Ferrosphere Paint, R6D8, and Heroic. So good job, Pond. I don't like that Elo, but I don't know. Who are you Swarm Tacticing up at Temin?
Jess Pava.
Jess, definitely.
I think we had this conversation before, didn't we? I think
Yeah,
I
Mark-
complained about this already.
Mark Packer Hughes, my 2-time NCX opponent, won the store champ with his exact list. And kicked my ass with his exact list, too.
I still think, like, overall the list is good, but I question whether Elo could just be a tiny bit better. I don't know. Like, you don't even have to go HLC if you don't want to. Though, I mean, that's a good move, but you don't have to do the HLC. You could do whatever you want with Elo. Just Swarm Tactics seems a little bit wasteful. So.
Prockets fits.
Oh my god. Okay. Have you ran a T70 with Prockets before?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Maybe you should bring that. Never mind.
With Lando. It's in the list.
All right. I hate you. I hate you so much.
And I get double-modded Prockets at I5.
I do not want to play you this weekend. Are you coming this weekend?
I'm going to try.
I'm going to change your list in the system. Is what's going to happen right beforehand, and you're going to have to run that list. That's what I'm going to do.
I love how you're asking for people to show up, and they're like, "Yeah, I hope Alex doesn't show up."
All right, it's just gonna be it's inevitable, JJ. They're the laws of bullshit. Is gonna be Alex and I have not played each other at a Sword Champ at all, literally all season. We have not. I don't know how we have not played. We've been the majority of the ones, everyone I've been to, Alex has been to, everyone. So, and somehow we've not played each other ever. Like I don't know how. It's a little irritating, but anyway, the next two lists that I kind of wanted to cover. JJ, what did Frog Legs bring us?
So the Frog Legs brought a Galactic Republic list. We got Siege of Coruscant, Oddball, and Wolf making an appearance along with Anakin Skywalker. Then we got the custom Shock T coming in with Shield Upgrade and Patience. And then Padme Amidala in the N1 with Marksmanship, Passive Sensors, and Proton Torpedoes. If you're not familiar with this Shock T, she can spend a force to help a ship retain a token for until the following round there. She's like the gamut key of the faction.
Well, she could do up to twice because
yeah, she could do it twice with both of her
0 to 2, and it's either a focus or an evade.
Yeah, exactly.
Sadly, it's not every token or any. I'd love
yeah,
it.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. But yeah, definitely allowing the especially Padme, particularly her, to be most likely evade and focused, and then set up for a proton torpedo shot with a passive center target lock. Can be very, very strong, and also set up Anakin as well if he needs it to have that extra evade token, so that way he can spend his action to reposition as necessary. So definitely a unique take on this list here, adding Shock T in here to help provide the list with more options for tokens.
I really like Shock T. Like, I like what this list is doing. I don't think the list is good. It's okay. But I like the Shock T because you can still do, like, worst comes to worst. Oh, Wolf just has 2 focus tokens now. So you can have one for offense and one for Born for this, or Born for this, get shot at, and Born for this again.
Mm-hmm.
Or set up. I mean, mostly I'm assuming it's to set up the double modded Padme shot, which is nice.
Now, question for you guys. So for this, because we do have a Siege of Coruscant Shock T that enables her to coordinate two clones essentially. You think she would do better in this particular list, or this Shock T version is better?
No, this one's a lot better. The SOC Shock T one's at the start of end phase, so if we were to coordinate them with focus, they just lose it.
Yeah, good point.
Unfortunately, I mean, you could do both, but it'd be mostly just repositioning or like locking, which you kind of already get with Oddball anyways and Wolf. So
yeah, I think this is to me, this one's better. I don't know. All right, Alex, what is the last list from this tournament? JPB, what did they run?
They were on a 4 Fang list and Bosk.
Yep.
Which is something you're kind of seeing a rise of for some reason. But this is Fenrau with Fearless Predator Optics Beskar, the full offense version of Fenrau. Cad Solus with Elusive and Beskar. The Elusive really works with his ability. I think I kind of like Duncan's version a little bit better. Just like more mods, but you know. Joy Rekov with Ion Torps Beskar. Tor Fun with Prockets and Beskar. And then Bosk with Cutthroat Marksmanship. Cutthroat for they lost their expert handling card, I think. I mean, the Cutthroat, I mean, you can rule the red token if someone dies, but
it's got to be a mistake. It's probably just a mistake in loading. Like you would not run Cutthroat, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, I will say if you joust this list could joust you and eat a ship in a turn. But I don't know. I ran, was it 5 Fangs back in 2.0? Was that what you could run, like 5 Fangs and something else? Like I did that because like I bought a Scum lot that had Fangs in it, but wasn't very good. So anyway,
Yeah, people would run like Fenrau and 3 Zealous recruits, and I'd just eat that off with RZ2s all day. They just dunk on on Fangs.
yeah. See you later, Fangs. All right,
Fly right past them and rotate.
the last store tournament in Canada must have been a bunch of people that said, "Hey, I'm going to run whatever I want to run," and there is some. I will say there's some definitely the top 2 are some very unique lists that we have not specifically crazy seen. One has a Sabine and an A-wing, which I kind of like. But the winner of this event was a CIS list by Jean-Luc with Zam, with Deadman Switch, Notorious, Perceptive Copilot, because you could just have thermal detonators. All of these are choices that you could have had Savage in there for.
I can have double focus for my double shot.
You can, and I won't lie and say that it's good, but like, you know what they need? They need to give us an advanced optics on Zam. There you go. Give me an advanced optics.
No.
I run perceptive advanced optics all the time.
What if they gave you Snap Wexley's ability in addition to Sam's ability?
No.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, let me boost in. Oh, God.
Right to jail. Right away.
Nope.
Right to jail.
All right, hold on. What was that, JJ? Oh, nothing. You can't say shit, so I don't want to hear it. All right, let's keep moving. Then we had 047, and this is a little bit. They got Kalani and Django Fett, and I just can't imagine Django ever triggers ever. Like, I don't know how Django's triggers in this one.
Okay,
you have
What does he
Kalani
do?
to give you the lock.
I guess
It's Django's ability, but you have to spend the lock on the opponent that you have.
Yeah, like
It is quite possibly the worst crew in the game.
yeah. I've never once ran Django crew ever. Just never done it. I've ran Grievous crew. Grievous crew's great. And you I don't know.
I mean, it's essentially like it's kind of a better juke, but I mean, you got to spend a lock on them. Nah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Like, and how does that work though? Because you can't spend locks to modify dice, but you can spend locks for Django. Because I was thinking about like the ability would almost just be like they say you're not allowed to spend locks, but it's specific to a timing window. So, anyway, then we have SOC 404 with the APT, Dirge with Procon cannons, Xanadu Blood, and Bo-Katan. And isn't Bo-Katan range 1 to 0, JJ?
0 to 1, yes, correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can't even use
For
it on
6
proton
points.
cannons, and it's 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And then the Iron Assembler with grappling struts, energy cells, and munitions failsafe instead of the independent calculates. Which I think is okay. I mean, it I don't know. That gives you that option. I like the Discord version of it better personally, but so Zam's a heavy hitter here, I guess. I'm very confused with Bo-Katan though. I don't. You just like, is it you proton cannon with Dirge and then go in and like try to bump or get range 1 so you get your rerolls? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Predator's what, 4 points, 3 points? So like you could run Predator if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, but at the same time, Predator doesn't allow you to use that at range 0, right? Like I understand the draw for it, but at the same time, it's like I guess if you're going into the scrum, you fire your proton cannons first, usually at range 2 to 3, usually typically range 3, and then you're going in deeper to get further shots in with Dirge. You're not going to be using your proton cannons usually because it's recharging, and just having not needing to be in bullseye with Bo-Katan does help. So you can still get that reroll at range 1, and if you bump, you can still do that range 0 shot. Particularly useful if you're shooting against an opponent that doesn't have any tokens, or if you have them in bullseye, they can't spend their tokens. So it could be useful. So.
All right, Alex, what list do you want to take next?
Oh, Christ. Yeah, no, I'll just take the next one. This Rebel list. It has Lebo, customizable Lebo, with FTC Deadman Tactical Scrambler, Notorious, and the title. You also have Luke, Boy Luke, Keo Lone Wolf Concussion Missiles, Boy Holokand, and then A-Wing Sabine with Mando Optics, Beskar, and Clan Training. Which that's kind of what you run if you run A-Wing Sabine. Clan Training's a little bit iffy though. Just because you generally are stressed from boosting with an A-Wing, or you have already taken the focus action, especially because you have optics. But it's a solid list. I mean, Sabine's just a mini Fang fighter. That's cool. I don't know about Lebo, though.
I mean, it's not a horrible label. I'm not, again, a fan of FTC. I would prefer to just have Contraband.
I don't think you need Contraband on a 2400.
Yes, you do.
For what?
When I barrel roll and don't want to go straight to clear the fucking stress next turn. Because
to be honest,
with them.
To be honest, I actually would have gone with electronic baffle instead of tactical scrambler and still keep it. Still keep the dead bench switch because hilariously you can actually if you have one hole left you just baffle and blow yourself up on purpose. I think that would be hilarious. But I mean, if you're expecting to get bumped with Lebo, which if you are, then you're not flying it correctly. You know, having that tactical scrambler to beat that obstacle to help keep your other ships, like give it a chance to survive a shot, could be okay. But I think it's a very, very edge case, and I think you get more out of electronic baffle with Lebo, just being able to like take off an enemy lock or a stress for you to like, you know, K-turn again if you need to. Probably a little bit better for Lebo than anything else.
All right. The next list, JJ, you want to take the next list?
Yes. So we'll go with the last one there by Brett. He brings Luke Skywalker, the Battle of Yavin version. We get an appearance of Wedge Antilles in C65 with R4 Astromech and Crackshot and Predator. That's a very aggressive Wedge, but that he definitely can punish very, very well. Thane Kyrell with proton rockets, Corrin Horn with R3 Astromech, cluster missiles, and marksmanship, and then Sabine Wren in the TIE Fighter with Beskar reinforced plating, being able to have a very efficient, high initiative shots here with these X-Wings can be very, very good. It's particularly Corrin Horn helping out to Luke and Thane. Corrin Horn's ability combined with Thane using those proton rockets can absolutely devastate an enemy. You essentially just keep those S-foils closed. You can boost and focus or focus boost and get that bullseye lined up. And if you have a lock already, Corrin Horn can engage first, provide that lock for Thane, and you have a double modded proton rocket shot into whoever you want to. And if they've already been softened up by Wedge, that proton rocket is going to either kill them or severely cripple them and allow Luke and possibly Sabine to finish up against that particular target. So it can be very, very effective.
The question I have is, do you think this is as effective as the T70 lists that we've been seeing going around?
Slightly less, mainly because they have less health. But beyond that, I mean, you're getting more mods, I would say, across the board with Corrin being able to have that his ability to pass off those target locks to when he engages, especially if you're able to get the cluster missile shot off with Corrin Horn. You're passing off 2 target locks for each, one for each shot. So there's a high ceiling for that. Not likely that's going to happen, but it definitely can be there. And Wedge shooting at I6 with a crack shot and Predator on there. If he has somebody in bullseye, they're going to take damage, and they're going to have to worry about the follow-up shots from Corrin, Thane, and Luke.
All right. The last list, we have a Kylo list with the Whisper with Brilliant Evasion, Malice, Predator, Pattern Analyzer. Then we have Wrath with Predator, Marksmanship, Pattern Analyzer, and Ion Cannon. Midnight with Pattern Analyzer, Fanatical, Commander Malorus with cluster missiles, and now we have an appearance of Grudge with cluster mines, thermal detonators, and skilled bombardier and feedback ping. So I think in this list you want to kill the Grudge first, but when you do, you got two whispers coming in on your tail saying, "Hold on a second, buddy. Let me make sure you don't get to do that."
Yeah, I'm almost on the fence on thermal detonators versus like a counter net for Grudge. Um, just for the that boost and then launch right there, just being able to like really mess up somebody's path or actions with Grudge can be really strong. But still, thermal detonators combined with skill bombardier, having the ability to just place them at different distances and set up a feedback ping later on, that can be very, very strong for Grudge. I just think that the list would benefit from having a coordinator, particularly Midnight, to help Grudge get into position or have um, like that I6 barrel so that way he can set himself up for a good boost for the following turn. Could definitely enhance this list there, but still, if you're able to fly well with Grudge, you can get off those system phase bombs pretty well.
All right.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, like Wrath is fine. Like specifically when you have Kylo too, it's just I don't know. Like Grudge is just such a weird like 4-point call. You can have like Leahy's instead.
Yeah, and Hughes could take barrage rockets and or you could just make Hughes like a mini fire spray for 4 points. I mean, you could do a lot of things, with
You could bring a
Leahy's.
different bomber, knock it down to 3, still have feedback ping, and then also feed like Leahy's with feedback ping too, which is nice. So if you still want to do bombs, you can switch those up.
Maybe we'll get bombers be good again, but I don't know. Crispy ruined it for everybody, so screw you, Crispy.
No, it was Chaff, man. After Chaff went, so did the bombers.
All right. Well, let's get into our Academy 101 discussion. We're going to be talking Scum list to begin with tonight. What is the meta list for Scum? So, before we go too far, folks, we're going to play our Academy 101 intro for y'all. Welcome back to our Academy 101 segment where we talk about what the meta lists are for each of the different factions. Tonight, we're going to be looking at Scum lists to kind of see, do they have something meta or not? So here we have the Duncan list, which we'll say is probably the highest. Is this the highest one, Alex, or is this like the third or fourth one? I can't remember.
It's up there, but you're seeing more of an uptick, obviously, after Duncan played it.
Yeah.
Some people might swap out CAD for like other CAD.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mostly been roughly, if you're flying Mandalorian, you're sticking Fenrau and Dirge around them.
Fair enough. So Alex, what is this list?
So it's the one that Duncan won that store champ with. He finally did it with Scum. Finally being months ago, but he has Fenrau with Fearless, Predator, Beskar Optics, the really aggressive Fenrau. He's got the Mandalorian with the Child and Mandalorian Optics. They're kind of what he is built to bring, right? You got Dirge with Proton Cannons, Contraband, and Lone Wolf. It's only a 4-ship list, so Lone Wolf kind of makes sense. And then Cad Solus with Cutthroat, Beskar, and Mandalorian Optics. I believe Duncan said he really likes having the double mods with optics and then also doing a Talon roll and having the double focus. He said he really liked that time on target when he was playing this. And it makes sense. Like, it's a punchy list. Mandalorian, if you have more than one chip facing at you, it becomes a lot tankier and more durable than you would like. I'm not going to say he's outputting a ton of damage, but he's not dying typically. So he works pretty well in terms of objectives in this style of list. He doesn't turn, but he goes in a straight line real well.
Well, we had a
Yeah,
little bit more loadout, I don't know.
yeah, and this list here, and you're exactly right. Right, with Mandalorian, you're sending this towards at least two ships towards the center, and the key to being successful with the Mandalorian is to make sure that the lane that you pick is a straight line, and you have enough to basically go up and down that line without having to worry about doing any turns. This allows you to keep time on target. The turn that you do that K turn to turn around, you still have the Child's Force to help you set up there. You also have Mandalorian Optics to help you set up for shots there. It only has two defensive dice, so when you start getting to range one shots, if you end up taking damage there, you're free to spend the Child's Force because you know you're going to recover at least one force coming back. So it does make the Mandalorian a little more tankier to take down. And then the Razor Crush title allows you to hide an illicit either contraband cybernetics, which is probably going to be the more preferred one out of the other illicits. The other one you could take would be false transponder codes on there, but yeah, you do have the capability to be really effective on offense and slightly tanky on defense with the Child's and the Mando's ability.
And they do have an evade on their action bar too. So if you roll like two blanks, you just evade and then use the ability, and then the child for force. So even if you blank out, you're still getting two, results. And I do like the FTC. Oh, it's the system phase. What do I have? Oh, look, it's a jam here. I'm already target locking you. Have fun. But I would assume contraband is generally what you would take. But like FTC definitely has a place.
Yeah, it solely depends on the list that you're facing. If you're facing off against like those Empire bombers, FTC would be a really great way to make sure that one of those bombers doesn't get their barrage rockets off. Or if you're facing a list that's very like target lock dependent, FTC is really great on making sure that you're negating at least one of those proton torpedo shots against you.
If you're flying against arcs, JJ, what would you take? Would you take
Contraband.
contraband?
Yeah, contraband all the way.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
take the FTC just in case, the
If Jag is in the list, Jag is going to generate locks constantly, so you're wasting the false transponder pretty easily, unless you feel confident that you're going to be able to eliminate Jag within one engagement. Then that's the only other reason I would like bring FTC against arcs.
fair enough.
So, playing this list, what is your setup in terms of obstacles and objectives? Like, is there one this does better at? Is this kind of all a
Make a lane for the Mandalorian. Bring some big rocks so they don't follow you. I think that's about as much as you're gonna get out of that, right?
Yeah. You're probably placing if you're planning on taking the Mandalorian to go in the inside, right? Because that's where you're probably going to find the most amount of enemy ships there to take advantage of his ability. You want linear rocks, linear objectives. So, for instance, the newer obstacles that we got there, there's one that's like kind of triangular that has a really like flat edge going around it. It's a debris cloud. That's a really good one to set up for like a lane going vertical, as well as the gas cloud. There's one that looks like a bacon. That one's also very linear. That really helps define a particular lane to set up for the Mandalorian to go up and down and have his cover when he needs it. And beyond that, if you're looking for just straight up utility, as long as you're not bringing debris clouds for the Mandalorian to not accidentally go over, you're probably best off with like gas clouds or rocks if you want.
All right. So, objective wise, like, does this do really well at assault, or is this going to be? You're not really going to pick up crates. I don't know if you pick up crates outside of maybe Mando, um, maybe Cad.
Mhm.
I don't know though. Like, I
No.
don't think you pick up crates. You just have to murder things.
Yeah, I mean, this list is definitely more PvP than it is PvE.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that For salvage, Mando is probably going to be your carrier. You could make an argument for Cat Solus because he could just do like a two Talon and be tokened up as for any attacks that might come in. But after that point, you definitely want that barrel or boost to make sure you're constantly at range one with Cat Solus. So probably not the best objective grabber there. But I think you're better off killing your enemy carriers with this list than like contesting the crates with this one here. So I think that salvage is probably their weakest scenario.
All right. So what defeats this list? Focusing
Yourself.
do you focus Mando down? Is that what you do? I mean,
for this one here, your best weapon here is good flying, right? You don't want to be in the Mandalorian's front arc. You don't just the Mandalorian, or if you do, you keep yourself at range 3 and fire ordnance onto him to help take him down. Fenrir's the same way. Keep yourself out of the front range 1 of Fenrau, which can be difficult, but if you set yourself up to block Fenrau, you can easily get in some shots from the side or from range 2 or 3, and that's where Fenrau dies. Being able to take advantage of that, I think, is key. For Dirge and Cat Solus, you can take your time with them. Once Dirge gets that proton cannon shot off, he's the weakest out of the 3. And has to take his time to come in and recharge those proton cannons, and that's where you can take advantage of it. Cat Solus, same thing as Fenrau. You don't engage him at range 1, you're engaging him at range. And if you have like turret arcs, like Han, for instance, you play keep away at all times with this because you don't want your front arc to face these ships at all for them to take advantage of their abilities.
Yeah, I mean, this list doesn't have like a lot of health in it, so if you and Fang fighters can pop. So like if you don't fly them well, they're just slightly out of position. You misjudge a block, those Fang fighters, they can turn on you, and that's rough. That's a fair chunk of your list.
all right. Anything else about this list before we move on to the next one?
Be very patient with it. Don't YOLO joust. Just be Duncan Howard easy.
Figure out how you can use the Mando to outmaneuver everybody. There you go. Too bad you didn't have enough room to put Babu and the child on there. At least, like that would at least be fun. Like you only need 2 more points,
Yeah.
Maybe the next point update.
In 7 years. All right. The next list we have is called Fangs and Dirgy, because we're not going to call Dirgy because I am obsessed with it recently, and like Georgie and Dirgy, kind of same thing. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna call it there. JJ, what is this list? Tell me about it.
So we got Fenrau with Fearless Predator, Beskar, Reinforced Plating, Mando Optics, OT with Fearless, Clan Training, Beskar, and Mando Optics. Then we got Lee Mackay with Plasmas and R4B. Dirge with Fearless, Proton Cannons, Contraband Cybernetics, and then Boss with Expert Handling and Marksmanship here. This is very much kind of the salad archetype for Scum. The only exception, obviously, would be Old Terrak on here. Kind of functionally works like the previous list that we looked at there, though it is a lot less aggressive being in front arc. Particularly Lee Mackay doesn't want to be in front arc of anybody, and Bosk is that objective grabber at 2 points that wants to be able to just grab a contestant objective or grab a crate and then just keep out of the fight. But if he happens to get somebody in bullseye, that marksmanship helps Bosk's offense when he needs to be. But the list can definitely fly around. You're going to be more occupied with Old Terrak and Fenrau in this list, as it's going to be the most aggressive out of the rest of the list there. It constantly wants to be in your face. It constantly wants to be at range 1, taking those shots. having the option to use Mandalorian optics to get that lock early, and then turning around, getting behind you to take shots, makes those Fang fighters very, very deadly. And then Dirge can come in from the flank and just take those range 2 or 3 proton cannon shots when he needs to. They can cover a lot more of the board than the previous list, and does have a bit of staying power, I would say.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the more popular lists, right, Alex? This was like the
Yeah.
top one, I think.
I think this was the top one. Yeah.
Yeah. This makes it sense because this has the ability to kind of be a little bit more versatile, right? You know, you have Two Fangs and Dirge, and you know, I don't I know old Turok can die, but old Turok likes to steal things. It just it just does, you know, and I mean, because you could do your reposition stuff with him and a target lock, and you got Mando optics, and you got clan training if you can't steal a focus.
Well, he doesn't steal it. It's not Palop. He just makes you lose it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
just
thought he
makes it-
stole it. Oh,
No,
No,
no.
no.
Oh, well, that was just,
But you lose all green tokens.
Yeah. So if you're double calculated, or if you're reinforced and focused, or you have somebody on the other end that has like gamut key and is holding on to stuff, if you're facing Tarok, goodbye. To say goodbye to all those tokens, they're gone.
Padme and you're focused evaded.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirty things. Like Tarok's kind of a bully. Just a little bit.
just a little bit. So in this list, what do you do obstacle wise? You just taking big rocks? Like you got small ships, everybody's maneuver. You take big rocks, right?
Yeah.
I would.
Because you want to try to funnel your opponents into tight spots where those Fang fighters can predict where they're going to go, and it also helps discourage like people from following people if they're coming in at a weird angle. I think you probably want to use the Snaggletooth formation more than anything for this one, not only to take advantage of Predator, but just to force those weird angles where they can't quite pursue you as well in those tight rock formations. I think that's where the Fang fighters really, really shine there. And it also helps Lee Mackay come in from the flank to use her ability and get those plasma torpedoes off.
So question is, do you put Fen and Old T on opposite sides, or is Old T kind of versatile with where you put Dirge, right? Like
Fen, I would put on the I would say on the range 3 edge from either side, and OT I would put towards the center, and that way you can converge on whoever you're going to decide to pick on with the things.
Alex, thoughts setup wise?
Yeah, I don't know where you put. Where would you put Tarok? That's a tough call. I think by Dirge might be the correct call. Just kind of have them off. Like you want to kind of keep them close together. That way you can like work and focus fire things. Lima, you can try to make a flanker just for her ability. But I also like that it's an I6, 3 I5s, and an I4 in this list. That's not to be sneezed at. They can actually initiative kill things pretty fast if they're doing it right. Yeah, just I love Tarok. I haven't flown him in a bit, and flying 2 Fang fighters is super iffy to me. Manru is also 5 points. Just throwing that out there.
So do you is that who you replace Old Turok with? Is Manaru? Just say, hey, look, I got somebody that can knock you out if you don't kill me right away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Manaru's nice, and then you can replace Fen Rao with another 6-pointer called Afra, and then replace Dirge with Cad, and then you just have my list. Easy.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't want to do your list tonight, so
No,
I don't
it's
wanna hear about it.
no, I get why people like Fangs. I mean, Beskar really helps out with those problem crits.
Yeah, and we're not seeing Fen with what is it? Not hot shot
Burnout
blaster,
thrusters?
the burnout thrusters as much as we were.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like kind of up to debate which one you bring. Just Beskar optics seems to be on a higher uptrend, the uptick right now than the burnout thrusters.
Does it just make them that much more versatile? Is that why we kind of want that? Or
I think in this list, I don't think you'd want the burnout thrusters. I think you want to just have front load as much offense as you can. The burnout thrusters are nice, but it's for more lists that are a little bit more like tanky, so you can have Fen just do the either chase them down with the burnout thrusters or get out of here with burnout thrusters, and have the whole team, not turn into it. You can still punish them for chasing Fen. I'm not sure if you could do that with this list.
all right. What counters this list? Aces, I guess, like that don't joust you. That don't joust this list. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, like Han.
I would say a good alpha strike that can help range control can absolutely decimate this list. If you're able to catch Fen and ulti at range 2 to 3 with munitions, you can absolutely destroy them. And that's the key. It's just making sure that you get a good first engagement versus Fen and ulti. It will make them a lot more gun shy and less likely to come in aggressively, knowing that they could potentially get that final shot in there.
So objectives then, are you? You're not picking up crates, right? Like kind of like we talked about. Maybe Lima, can Lima pick up a crate?
I would say Lima and
Boss?
Lima and
Boss.
Boss can.
Yeah, Lima and Boss are going to be your objective carriers there because they're not going to be repositioning really. And you could potentially do it with Dirge as well if you feel like you don't really need to be aggressive with Dirge. But yeah, you definitely have those 3 objective carriers there, and you're also high enough initiative where you can be effective in scramble as well with like snagging that objective. I mean, you got 3 I5s, an I6, and an I4. Those are pretty decent initiatives for scrambling. So yeah.
And if you're super worried about salvage, you can always switch off clan training on Terrock and put in marksmanship instead.
Yep.
But clan training really helps with like scramble. That way you can capture the objective and then clan training a focus on there.
Yeah.
So
you just can't boost. You can't claim it boost.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
But you can claim it and then just be like, come get me because I'm just gonna kill your tokens, you little monkey. All right. Anything else about this list before we move on to the next one?
Nope.
All right. The last one we have here is Cad and Durgy, even though this one's got Dengar in it. And it really should be labeled Dengar, but I still like the Durgy. Durgy seems to kind of be a staple. I'm not sold on the false transponder codes. I know that's what people are running. I just don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't like it. You can't boost and target lock, damn it. Like what are you doing? You get in the bullseye? You're good at getting the bullseye. Anyway. This list has Ben Rao with clan training, a shield upgrade this time, and Beskar plating. Dengar with Notorious, Contraband, Punishy 1, and Agile Gunner. Dirge with Marksmanship, Proton Cannons, and FTC. Cad Bane with Synced Laser Cannon, the title. Thermals and Kira, which we've already kind of seen a little bit. I don't know, with this, again, this is another 4-ship list. Like, I think in Things Out, this list probably does really well. You do have two high initiative ships here. But I don't know. Do you run Notorious on Dengar? Is that just like the thing you do now because nobody wants to shoot him?
Yeah, I mean, if you shoot him, you get a strain and he shoots you back.
And has a reroll.
And has a blank reroll, yeah. I actually kind of like false transponder goes on Dirge in this list because you can like jam people and then shoot them with both Fenrau and Dengar. So I understand people's logic. Again, this is like the most popular choices off like the 3rd or 4th most popular Scum list out there. And like Fenrau in a 4-ship list, I understand why you would take shield. You get that extra health because people are going to be shooting Fenrau because they're not shooting Dengar. So your other ships are going to die, and then Dengar shows up eventually.
It's just really weird not having Fearless. That's all.
On Dengar?
No. I'm sorry. On Fenrau. So you don't put Fearless on Dengar. Don't be an ass.
People do that all
I
the
know
time.
we've had this discussion on the show more than one time. No, I'm saying on Fenrir. It's just weird not seeing Fearless on Fenrir. But maybe
Yeah.
you're playing more cagey a little bit, right? Is that how you're playing this one? You're a little
Yeah, I
bit more
think
cagey.
this one is you send Dengar just right there, and then hopefully Fenrau and Dirge can clean him up afterwards, and Cad Bane shows up. Because I think Laser Cannon Cad Bane doesn't really need to boost every turn or barrel roll to maintain that bullseye, like with proton cannons, so he can actually be your objective getter. And like Dengar is not terribly bad at like scramble. You still get 2 shots at them if they shoot you on scramble. And don't do it obviously if there's more than one person shooting at you, but like objective wise, this isn't, I don't think as bad as it looks on paper. But I don't know. People bring Dengar a lot. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean it's the I6. It is. I mean,
It's an
this is a
I6.
very threatening Dengar.
Bonus attacks are great.
Yep. It's cheaper than Zam, right? Like you're not.
Agile Gunner does actually help out a lot,
Oh yeah.
especially if you're gonna do like the one sloop or a 4K.
Yep. Give you the agile gunner, allows you to keep time on target a lot easier than you would normally get, right? I don't know. I like Dengar, but I never have success flying him. He always dies for me every time.
Yeah, jump masters are. I think they're better when they're not like front line dead center. And with Dengar, you kind of want to do that. Like you want to have, like with Manaru, fine, be at range 2, range 3, whatever. You can have Gar Saxon on there, get your 4th eye anyways. Do whatever. With Dengar, you kind of have to be like right up in someone's grill. And that sometimes they don't roll all those ways,
At least mine doesn't. All right. Obstacles, are you bringing small rocks then? Or do
Probably
you
like
just,
medium rocks.
just go big and bad?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think medium's probably the way to go. I mean, you still could place large rocks. You just got to be careful on the counter placement, because obviously you want to put Dirge in a spot where he can take full advantage of his. Sorry, not Dirge. Dengar can take full advantage of his dial, right? Because you're most likely placing him on the right side of the map, right? So that he has the access to all those blues, and you don't want to set yourself up to a point where Dirge has a really hard time coming in to engage, or come in at a weird angle where they can get free shots onto him and you don't have shots back. So as long as you can mitigate that on turn 0, then you should be okay with large rocks. But other than that, yeah, probably the medium rocks is probably the way to go. Just got to make sure you leave a good lane for Dengar to turn left and keep time on target.
Yeah, it's the problem. It's like you kind of want large rocks, right, to funnel people into Fenrau and Dengar, into the bullseyes of Dirge. And then you're just like, but I also have an asymmetrical ship that only turns left well. So I have to bring smaller rocks so I don't get completely shut out of the side of the board.
Yeah.
Hot tip, though, if you angle them 90 degrees sideways facing the right side of the board, you can turn in at any angle. That makes it much easier for a jump master. Like with the 1 hard or the 2 hard, then you can go into the center of the board instead of starting up on the right side and turning in. Gives you a little bit more options. It's not always the best, but it's not too bad.
Counters for the list. Everything?
No, I mean it's just like mostly very mobile things, like like a Han or something. You get like the problem is that Dengar's a front arc. And I mean, he could be a side arc, but you're not. Don't do that. Only in case you have no other shot, right? So it's go on, JJ. You look like you're saying something.
I was gonna say aces definitely take advantage of this list here, particularly against Dengar, right? Because they're going to try to bait him to go towards his right if at all possible, so that way Dengar has an awkward like dial to try to come back in whenever he needs to, or have him overcommit to the left and then not being able to turn right. That's a good way to force Dengar to be in a bad position, especially if you're dragging him through the obstacles there. In Even with Notorious, Dengar can be gunned down fairly easily. He's most likely going to be spending his tokens on offense to punish as much as possible. But if you're able to set off um, like a mag pulse against Dengar, not only are you going to neuter his return shot, you're going to jam him. So if he has any like target locks out there on one of your friendlies, he's going to lose that most likely and have a reduced shot coming back to you. And then once he's done with his bonus shot, he's free game. He's going to be tokenless. He's going to be most likely done with his shields, and all those crits that go into Dengar is just going to hamper his ability to go in there. But the only caveat is that if you go into Dengar, make sure you kill him, because if you don't, he's gonna punish you real hard afterwards. But yeah, typically anything that could reposition or double reposition is gonna have an easier time taking care of this list here. Fenrir definitely is that wild card that can come in and punch you and take you out in one shot. But there are ways to stop Fenrir from coming in by getting in his way and negating that range one attack for Fenrir there. But there are ways to definitely to get around this list. I would say high initiative aces. Bombs also really really good to plink away at the health of these Fang fighters and Dengar and soften them up for follow up attacks later on.
All right. That concludes our Scum meta analysis for Academy 101. Also tonight, we're going to be covering Separatist CIS medalists for our Academy 101 Part 2 segment. This is going to be a little interesting, folks. We're going to go through this. This will probably be a little bit less. There is less meta CIS lists, I think, than before. The one is very highly propagated by Dom, who has played a lot of games. And then there's a few of us that have played this list. It is a fun list, but there is some of this stuff that is not in CIS. It just hasn't won a lot. And the problem is the stuff that wins in CIS is not consistent, right? There's a few consistent ships, like Dirge is a great consistent piece, but we're not seeing as much of the whatever you would call variety or variability for it. So I don't know, JJ, do you have any thoughts on CIS before we get into it?
CIS is one of those factions that suffers from not having a lot of players play CIS. I think that across the board, when you compare the number of players that are using CIS as their main, they number far fewer than the other factions, which is why we don't see them have high turnouts in a lot of the tournaments there. I still think that CIS has a lot of tools that help them compete with the rest of the meta, and they fly much differently than the rest of the other factions, mainly the droids, right? Because their dials are very unique when you compare it to the rest of the factions, right? A lot of these droids don't have a three bank that's white. They do have a lot of hard turn maneuvers, which allow them to turn into the fight a lot easier. And however, when they need to just take those odd banks, boosts, or angles to go in there, that's what they really suffer with their dials. They also don't have a lot of shields across the board for all these ships, so they are very they're crit magnets. You know, they suffer a lot when they suffer those crits. But they do have a lot of good cheap ships that are glass cannons that they can potentially put out a lot of damage. So they're if you're going to compare them with any other faction, I feel they resemble a lot more Empire than any other faction. They just don't have the same tools that Empire has, but that's okay because they have tactical droids that can boost their abilities. They do have great pilots in the Rogue class, which has been a boon for CIS, and the fire sprays are always very good for CIS as well.
All right, so let's begin. The first list I have is Sunny, Grievous, Reroll Man, 81, and Dirge. Dirge with proton cannons, contraband, seismic charges. This one has seen marksmanship and proton bombs. I will tell you that in talking with Dom a little bit, the seismic charge contraband is more the go-to now. They're just so much easier to fly when you have contraband, because if you do your boost focus or stress, contraband can get you out of something for the next turn if you need to. Then we have Grievous with shield upgrade, Impervium, Solus 1 marksmanship, T81, which is the reroll droid man, Sunfak with graphitic deflection, ensnare, and targeting computer. And again, this, if you want to play more of a knifey Sunfak, you can run like a Predator instead of the graphitic deflection, whatever floats your boat. And then you have energy shell carrying 081 with independent calculates and struts. So this list is kind of your mixed bag. When I flew this list, I typically would either kind of put Dirge alone and Grievous alone on each different side, and then Sunfak with on wherever the hell nobody else is. So I would not put Sunfak by 4 T60s or T65s or T70s, because he's just gonna get eaten. Eaten, however you say that. And in a Han meta, Sunfak has a really hard time struggling with who are you going to give the tractor to? Oh, Han's still gonna shoot you. So this list suffers a little bit, I think, from like a lack of coordinate. A one modded Sunfak is really hard. The targeting computer is great if nobody's shooting at him, but man, I'll tell you what, like if Sunfak gets focused on, holy crap, be very careful. That thing will pop. Grievous all around. You could swap out for the shield upgrade for afterburners if you want a little bit more cagey Grievous without the stress, getting the stress when you boost, or if you want to be able to do a one turn, with Grievous where you have the ability to boost in before you decide what you want to take. You're probably not taking a target lock, but I mean, it's there. But it does allow you to reposition for 1 or 2 turns if you really want to do that, or it does allow Grievous to get out of dodge if Grievous needs to. And then you have reroll man. So you have some pseudo low initiative aces here. And then you have your objective getter, which is 081. Like if you have to pick up crates, put one in the far back. Do not do not put it in the center and send him there. Just put it in the back. Let him 1 hard. Take his crate and then double calculate and then 2 hard and then just kind of go back and forth. And if they really want to come kill your 2-point ship, that's fine. You just punish them for coming after a 2-point ship and don't put them out in the fray. To me, this list, you take all large obstacles, period. Every one of them is a large obstacle. Your goal is to funnel lanes that either you can funnel into with Dirge, lanes that you can kind of come around with Grievous. Not having outmaneuver sucks. I love outmaneuver Grievous. I even have a customizable card somebody made and gave to me that had outmaneuver Grievous, and I'm sad I can't run that anymore. AMG, give me a standard loadout Grievous with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, if they were going to make like another scenario pack for the Separatists, like what battle would they use that would include Grievous?
The one where he gets out of his ship and dies.
Exactly, right?
What was the planet with that lizard thing?
I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, So that's kind of it is, guys. What do you think? Do you agree with large obstacles for this list? I know
Yeah,
Alex doesn't run this very often, but
and honestly, if you're going to run large obstacles, especially with Saxman charged with a dirge, try to have a large obstacle near the center as much as possible, just to set up that dirge seismic charge. You're going to have the greatest chance to get people to take damage from that obstacle. Then and you can just ensure that your DFS is nowhere near that. Probably setting up an obstacle close to an objective on your side of the board, beyond range one of that other location or obstacle, and you can pretty much open up the board in the center later on for the rest of your list to follow up once you blow that obstacle.
go ahead, Alex.
Oh, I was just gonna say I figured out the planet name.
Oh,
You can
okay.
do the liberation of Uda Pao.
Unapao.
I want. We need an Obi-Wan pilot with "Hello there" as the subtext.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I think objective wise, this list does okay in like chance, and it does okay in salvage. Like this is not a horrible salvage list. In fact, Sunfact can actually pick up a crate if you could be maneuverable enough with him and not get cornered. Sunfact can just carry a crate the whole game because your tractor token on yourself is not a maneuver, so you can literally just carry a crate the whole game and hope nobody, marksmanship you or something like that.
Yep.
So really, this list doesn't suffer. I don't think this list excels at any specific objective, but this list does not suffer at any specific objective, except for maybe Scramble. Scramble, with it being lower initiative, is a little bit harder. But again, Sunfact can come back in and take that and just be unmodded. So if you set it up right, you're probably okay. But Scramble is the worst objectives for this list. Counters. What do you think counters this list?
Oh, man, don't get that Sunfok near a Han.
Yeah, definitely. Like ships with high
Medium and large
initiative.
bases.
Yeah, medium large bases, anything with high initiative as well that can reposition away out of the danger zone for these ships. Definitely have an advantage here, although you always got to be worried about that Sunfac and snare that can put you right back where you were. But yeah, I think that probably has the best chance on against this list here. Han definitely being a shining example of like a good ship that can help take on this list. Han has nothing to fear from Sunfax and Snare, so he can easily go into range one and punish Sunfac if he's too careless.
All right. Anything else on this list, or we move on to the next one?
No.
Yeah, well,
All right. By far, the most popular list is 2 fire sprays and Dirge. I did throw 2 lists in here. They're essentially the same thing. There's a Tanner build, what Tanner would build, and then kind of the more popular build, I guess. And I felt at first it would be fair to give you some of that. And JJ, I apologize, but I took some of your upgrades off because
That's fine.
I'm not running. I'm not running 14 points. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that on Sam. That's this is not going to happen. You're crazy. You're crazy.
It's a control version, but
I don't
it's
care.
fine.
You're crazy, dude. That's crazy to me. So, Alex, what does these lists sport?
well, I mean, it's Django's Ham and Dirt. It's pretty straightforward. So the top one, is this the meta one, or is this the one you do?
What's that?
The top one, is that the one that you
Yeah, that's
made?
that. Yeah, sorry, that's probably more of my. That's
Okay.
the one you and I talked. No, it's not. No, that's the more meta one.
Really? Okay. Yeah, so this has Dirge with proton cannons, contraband, the title in seismics.
Or maybe this is mine. No, this is mine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is mine.
Django with Lone Wolf, Dooku, contraband, seismic charges, delayed fuses, and then Zam with Notorious, Savage, contraband, and Boba Fett.
All right.
You want me to do the second one?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this one, we switch up Django Fett. So instead of Count Dooku, he has Savage and Contraband, Seismic, Delayed Fuses, and VTG, which would be replacing the point differential from Dooku and Lone Wolf. It has Zam, which is almost the same thing. This has Notorious, Dooku, and Contraband instead of Savage and Boba. And then this Dirge has Lone Wolf, Proton Cannons, Contraband instead of the Seismic Charges, which I kind of prefer anyways. The Lone Wolf Dirge version. If you have 3 ships, you might as well bring Lone Wolf somewhere on your list. And I think Dirge is a little bit easier to Lone Wolf it than Django.
Yeah, it's a little easier to get away in this list. So.
Yeah, Django has other important things he needs to do.
So what are you how are you playing this list to win? Right? This is probably not an objective. I don't know, JJ, you played 2 fire sprays for quite a while. What are you doing with this list?
So primarily, this is a very offensive minded type list, right? You're looking to eliminate your enemy as much as possible in order to reduce their effectiveness to contest objectives. So you're usually getting right into the fray. You can send in your 3rd ship, which is Zerge, to go contest objectives, although typically you don't want to. Particularly in salvage, you're looking to just eliminate the salvage carrier, and that's who you're basically going to send your dirge against, to use that protein cannon to try to guarantee the crate drop with that particular attack. On assault, you're doing pretty well. You're trying to condense your objective points as much as possible, so that way your fire sprays can be in the middle to contest those objectives. As long as you can do that and keep your time on target, you're going to be on top there. The fire sprays can be particularly difficult on taking them out. More Zam than Janko is probably going to be the more aggressive out of the 2 in contesting those objective points for assault. And then for scramble, Django Fett, again, if you spread out your objective to not be towards the center, forcing 1-on-1 or 1-and-2 engagements with your fire sprays, Django can typically spend his action to scramble and still have mods with Lone Wolf and Count Dooku, and then use the seismic charges to help deal additional damages for people who are pursuing you. So you can definitely take the advantage in that objective that way.
And I assume you bring big obstacles, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
you want to try to minimize the paths where your enemies can pursue you, and funnel them in. And especially if you're carrying seismic charges, just being able to funnel them in and then blow up one of those objectives just helps Django punish those ships that come in against it.
counters to the list, spike damage, right? Anything that
Alpha
can,
strikes,
like anything that can murder a fire spray. I mean, in fairness, I kind of say like Zam is great in most lists, but you can burn Zam down. Like if you put the fire, there's only 3 ships in here, right? You could put the firepower to them and burn her down.
Yeah, you can't be afraid to reinforce as their action, especially if you know that you're going to be facing down 3 or 4 ships at a time, and not have a really good way to like have an out to arc dodge. Being able to take advantage of the reinforce on those fire strays natively really helps them survive those onslaughts, and then just rely on their passive abilities to have mods there. That's really the only way that you can really counter that kind of offense on there. But typically, yeah, those fire sprays, once those mods are gone, you can burn them down easily like any other ship.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, do you even have an ability to lose a ship here? If you lose a ship, you just lose the game. If you haven't traded for more than equal points,
It's definitely an uphill battle.
Mhm.
yeah. I think this, like, we've seen Duncan Howard fly a version of this. His was a little bit more bomb centric, than this one is. I think you could do this. I think Nate flew this list too from Ohio. Nate May.
Yep.
I think you could do it, but I think this takes a lot of practice. And I think the problem is if you know the gimmicks and you play objectives, you might be able to get away with it, but you have to burn something down. And the reason the reason Dirge is on this list is because Dirge is a 50-50, right? You're not guaranteed to burn Dirge down, but if you play it the way Tanner does, Tanner always loses Dirge because he never somehow gets, except for the one time. But one time I needed it, like at the one time I needed it, it worked, and then when I needed it a second time in the same day for Michigan GT, it did not work. So, yeah, there's that. All right. Anything else about this list? I guess before we move on to the last one.
You got to be real cagey.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot out the back, run away, be a coward.
Yeah, I think that's the greatest thing about this list. So whether you're using this list, you got to remember that your rear arc is probably your best asset, because you can easily fly past your opponent and take a range one shot and do 4 dice rather than try to joust them with your front arc, and then just have them chase you. And if you're an opponent or if you're a player trying to take down this list, don't chase a fire spray. Just don't do it. It's not going to end well for you. Nope.
All right. Let's move on to the last list. I cheated a little. There was some other lists that had higher, but I JJ picked this list, and so we're gonna talk about. It's not Rogue 5s because there's only 4 rogues in there, but Reroll Man is pretty damn good as a rogue. So JJ, what is this list? And could you swap out a Magna Guard for 102? That's going to be the question Alex is going to ask in a few
100% would. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, you absolutely could, right? But this is a list that we saw actually do well. It made day 2 for the Nova Open this past tournament, and it has done. It did make tech cut in another tournament that I forget off the top of my head. But we got 4 rogue class fire sprays. Wow, 4 rogue class fighters. We got Dirge with proton cannons, contraband cybernetics, and engine upgrade. Cad Bane with marksmanship, sync laser cannons, contraband cybernetics, engine upgrade, and Xanadu Blood title. We got 2 Magna Guard protectors with sync laser cannons, Discord missiles, and independent calculations. And they provide that guarded condition, which we'll get to in a second. And then, of course, Reroll Man DIS T81 with outmaneuver, afterburners, and contingency protocol to round off this list. So that guarded condition, you can typically put it either on Cad Bane or Dirge. And as long as one of these Magna Guard protectors are in the firing arc and they have a calculate token, which they likely will with independent calculations, Cad Bane will be rolling, or the ship that you assign the guarded condition will be rolling an additional die on defense, and that helps them stay alive a lot longer. And since these Magna Guard protectors always want to have those calculate tokens, that helps them be very effective with sync laser cannons, especially at range 3, just helping deny that extra die at range 3, and also having access to Discord missiles adds extra targets for your opponent to try to have to take down unless they run over them and end up taking critical damage on them. So there's definitely some good utility on it. This one definitely requires a lot of work to master because you don't want to run too fast with the Magna Guard protectors, as you want them to be within a fairly good range 2 bubble around whoever they're guarding. And they don't have to be next to each other either. They can be like on the opposite sides to provide maximum coverage for their guarded ship. But yeah, just having access to the sync laser cannons, they don't have to rush into battle. They actually prefer to be out, at range. And as they get closer in, they have those Discord missiles to help them out. They have those independent calculations to give them those mods that they need, and also provide that guarded condition. And then if your opponent is focusing on taking down these role class starfighters, you got the IS on the flank coming in, going as fast as possible to try to get around the flank, take advantage of the outmaneuver. If your opponent decides to turn and go after DIS, and that's where those sync laser cannons come in and really take advantage of that of that free shot onto that opponent.
So we're gonna ask the question: why not 101 instead of 2 Magna Guard protect? 101 or
102.
102? Sorry, 102.
102 is such an underrated rogue. Lets you spend a calculate. I mean, lets you, if you're getting shot at by someone equal or higher initiative, to just change one of your blanks to a focus result, and then you have a calculate, and you have two of them because you have independent calcs. It's sort of like a bad version of Latrazi. I think he's underrated because he can also still do proton cannons, independent calcs, single laser cannons, independent calcs, and engine upgrade. So he's actually like a solid kit.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I mean, you do lose access to the Discord missile, but honestly, if you're not looking for that, the 102 is definitely a solid option to replace one of the Magna Guards.
Yeah. Who do you Magna Guard? Funny reroll man?
Dick move, but you could.
I would probably do CAD over DIS because you're not going to keep pace with DIS, especially if he starts to try to come in and do hard turns. You don't have the dial to match the same maneuvers as DIS, especially if you're like double calculating with independent calculations. You kind of want a straight trajectory as much as possible or at least a in and out trajectory to take advantage of the one banks on that dial to clear your stress.
Yeah.
So objective wise, I think this list is okay. Objective wise, you're not picking up crates as easily, I don't think. So it's gonna suffer at that. You're gonna suffer at scramble a little bit, just because of the fact that you're giving up an action and you have no coordinator. Now I will tell you, DIS loves scramble because he doesn't care about a mod. Like he don't care. Like you, and he has afterburners. It's especially if you look away from him, you can't joust 3 ships, but you could joust 1 ship typically, and take a scramble action and still be okay. Unless it's Luke, then you're out of luck. But that's different.
Yeah.
I wish they would have given him Predator too. Oh, that was so good. Anyway, now I'm just fantasizing. And obviously this one, you do not need to bring large obstacles, but it does make it easier to funnel ships into your arcs. You're probably going to try to open up that middle so that you can take the 3, rogues and kind of stick them in the middle. If you're going to put it on Cad Bane or if you're going to put it on Dirge. I will say Dirge does not deserve an engine upgrade. This is the JJ. Let's
give him Predator.
Does not need engine upgrade. You could put Predator, you could put Seismics, you could do
that's where I disagree, because there's a lot of turns, especially on turn 1 or turn 2, where you're not going to engage, where you want, especially if you're putting him on the flank, where you want Dirge to go in and just take a boost action, right? And if you're stressing him, you're reducing his dial to do only blue maneuvers the following turn. Engine upgrade gets rid of that problem and allows you to boost in without having to be stressed. And then if you need to hard one the next turn, you don't have to worry about the stress. So there is use for that engine upgrade without having to link it into something else if you know that you're not going to get shots in there. So there's a use for engine upgrade on the roads. So
there has been times where I would have been like, wow, I wish I had engine upgrade here. But I set up better. I don't know. Like, I think you get a lot more use out of Predator than you do engine upgrade.
Yeah, or you could put Lone Wolf, or you could put Treacherous, which is a little silly, but you could do that. You could also put Seismics. I don't know. I don't disagree. JJ, like on Cad Bane, I won't argue with you as much with the engine upgrade. I don't like it, but I wouldn't argue about that one as much for the pure fact that Cad gets the actions, so being able to do the boost without having that or being stressed and being able to do a boost, like you could do a barrel roll focus and then boost in. But I would also argue that I wouldn't run sync laser cannon either. I would run proton cannon, but that's just me. Again, I like my proton cannon Cad a lot better, and it opens up the ability if I want to put Predator on CAD. I can do that. I can put missiles on CAD. There's a lot of things you can do, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. Counters to the list, I guess. I think that's the only thing we haven't talked about, right? Is counters.
Probably. I think this falls again down to high initiative, right? If you got that TIE bomber swarm with Empire, you can reliably go in and use saturation salvo to reroll those 2 dice and force them to take those damages in. Vader definitely loves going into these ships and drawing crits onto them there, although. Probably not against Surge because you don't want to give him, stuff to discard later on. But yeah, I think high initiative, like swarms, definitely do well against this. They can outgun him.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest deterrent. Or Hans. Hans eat this list alive pretty easily too. So Dirge won't die. That's about it.
He's hard to kill.
So.
It says so on the card.
It does. All right. Well, I think that will conclude our Academy 1 series on meta list analysis. We have a link in the description of every show that will give you the location for the stream. It will take me probably a couple of days, maybe a week to like parse these two out and get them up in our playlist. I do have on-call work this week as well. So, anyway, thank you all for joining us. If you missed the beginning of the show, we have a Grand Rapids-ish Sword Champ tournament this Saturday, 11 p.m. or 11 p.m. All right, we're going to try this again. We have a Grand Rapids tournament in Zealand. All right, I'm too tired for this. In Zealand, come join us. We have a Sword Champ. Come join us. Just go back and watch the beginning of the stream, for Christ's sake. I can't seem to get my shit together tonight. Thank you all for joining us. We will be back next week with another amazing episode of Planning Phase Syndicate. Thank you. Have a good night, and we will see you on the flippity flop.
Have a good night, everybody.